Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Sorry to be so long in coming back to you with my kind of review of the Tom Ford spring collection. I did a video almost straight away when I bought most of these items, showing them off. And now I've been using them for several weeks fairly frequently, and I definitely have more of an idea about what's going on with this collection, and some fairly negative thoughts about a couple of the products, which is very unusual for me with Tom Ford. But it's been really, really busy, and also terrible to get decent lighting conditions to try and show you what I mean. So it's not brilliant today, but let's do the best we can. First up, I bought 4 of the new cream eyeshadows. I didn't repurchase Spice and Platinum, which I have from previous releases. And I told you straight away that obviously there is quite a large reduction in the amount of product that you're getting in these much smaller pots. You're now getting 1.17 fluid ounces, 5 millilitres in these dinky little pots for exactly the same price as the old pots, which I haven't stupidly brought one with me, but were quite a lot bigger. So that was an immediate downside, although I have to say that wouldn't bother me too much if it was still the old Tom Ford eye cream formula that I knew and loved, because they are so creamy, so richly pigmented that a little goes a very, very long way. And even for my favourites, you know, I get nowhere near using up a pot before it starts to dry up. So I wasn't too bothered about the reduction, even though it's for the same price. However, having now used them quite a lot, I'm pretty convinced that the formulation of these has changed quite dramatically, I have to say. And I now find these creams, I'm sorry to say, nowhere near as densely pigmented, and definitely not as creamy. They are much harder, I think, to work with, because frankly the formulation is quite watery, especially on the oily skin of the eyelid. Yeah, what can I say? And that, I think, is going right across the 4 that I bought. It's most obvious in the lighter colours. So, for example, I had Opal, which looked really, really pretty peachy gold. It's looking more kind of silvery in the viewfinder there. And I was a bit worried when I tested it that it was, you know, not very obvious on the skin of the hand. It's even less obvious on the eye. Frankly, this formula and colour doesn't even really kind of blot out the unevenness on my eyelid colour to just make me look myself but more wide awake. It's, you know, bordering on useless as a colour to actually use on the eyes. But I initially put that down to the actual shade, and I was more hopeful with Sphinx, which I don't know if you can see in the pot. It's this just beautiful kind of gold pink duochrome. Really, really pretty colour. Picks up kind of golds, pinks, gorgeous. So I was really into trying this, and immediately you put your finger in, it just feels more slippery and watery than the old formulation. Now, there is quite a bit of colour there, and it's okay on the eyes, but certainly on my less than perfect eyelids, it just looks really like a whole load of glitter, and it kind of almost blends out too much too easily, and you definitely can't build this formulation up. So if you bung more colour on, either with finger or, you know, I've tried with brush, and I never used brushes with the old formulation, it just builds up the same and kind of starts to crease away. So it's just about usable, but I definitely need to use other powder shadows with it to create any sort of a look. And as you see, the beautiful kind of duochrome that you see in the pot just fades away to glitter particles on the skin, and that's on the hand. It's even worse on the eyelid, I'm sorry to say. Blue isn't usually my colour for the eyes, although I love it as a colour, and I couldn't resist Siren Blue. Thought this would be a beautiful summer shade, but again, watery formulation, so it looks really dense there, but the minute you pack it on, actually that doesn't look too bad, but I have to tell you, on the eye it kind of fades away, particularly with wear, very, very quickly indeed. And again, I need to use a powder over the top. I mean, it's usable, but it's just not the kind of quality that the old ones were. The best of the bunch that I've got is burnished copper, I think partly due to the actual colour itself. I could definitely wear this one on its own, and it's workable. It's just got that slightly more substance in the cream that stays. So that one's okay. But I'm kind of puzzled. There are still pretty much universally rave reviews for these out on the internet. There are a few negatives out there, but very few. And I can't believe how anybody who is familiar with the old formulation could think that these are up to scratch, because they're not. They're much, much closer to the Charlotte Tilbury ones, but I actually would say now, having used a bit more, I haven't got now a Charlotte Tilbury to compare with, but my recollection of them is that I preferred them to this. So a real shame, because I was a rave fan of the Tom Ford cream eyeshadows up to now. I'd be really interested to see what people think who have bought the new Platinum or Spice and have the old one to compare. I'm almost tempted to fork out the 29 quid and get a new Platinum just to compare and contrast and show you, but I haven't quite brought myself to that yet. I'm not a professional blogger, so why should I? The quads, I'm deeply regretting not getting Honeymoon. I didn't get it because it kind of reminded me too much of Burnished Amber, but I don't think it is really, and it's a different formulation, and it's sold out now, but it will come back. So the two that I got, let me show you this one first. This is Lilac Dream. Again, not up to the old Tom Ford standards in that, well, that's perhaps a bit unfair. I'm never a huge fan of the glitter shade, so as with many of the Tom Ford palettes, there is a glitter shade here, and it's this silver at the top. I have used it. It's not very dense, not great, but that's partly my issues with silver. However, I was looking forward to using this pale pink. It's showing even paler on the monitor than in reality. It's a petal pink. But this formula here is not the old buttery soft Tom Ford. I don't know if you can see, if I bring it really close, you can see the kind of drying in the centre. And, literally I've had this a month. There just isn't the quality in that shadow that you normally get from Tom Ford. Now, it doesn't look too bad swatched on my finger, but on the skin, and I promise you on the eyelid, it just doesn't show at all. A little bit of a sheen, that's it. So it's pretty much unusable. It certainly isn't a quality eyeshadow. Now, the other two here are really nice, really pretty, much more the buttery Tom Ford formula that I expect. They're both satins. Particularly this one just feels gorgeous, and two really, really pretty gentle shades. You can see they're not hugely densely pigmented, but for pale skin, blue eyes, these are two really pretty shades. I've been using them a lot. I've been using them over the Dior cream pencil, the two-ended one with a liner at one end. I forgot what it's called. I've got mine in Hortensia, which is a light pink. I spread that over the lid and use these to do a really, really pretty shade. And if you like satins with a bit of sheen, but like me have older, slightly crepey eyes, this is a very forgiving satin formula. So I'm not sorry I bought it, because those two I'm going to use a lot. I have already. But again, £64 for what's in effect a duo rather than a quad is going a bit. And that one there is a really duff formulation. Much happier with Last Dance. I've also used this a lot. Have actually used the glitter on this one. It really does pep up, and I can use it a little bit as a line around the eyes. It doesn't irritate. Do I need to show you these again? These are beautiful buttery formulas. A bit like Sahara Haze if you've got that palette, so you wouldn't absolutely need it. But these are all good quality. I've used these to do a workday kind of look, and then this gorgeous teal is a fantastic glitter. You know, if you're going to do glitter, do it like this. So I do like Last Dance. It's not one of my absolute favourites just because of the colour, but it's up to Tom Ford standards. Can I show you quickly, which I haven't showed before, the new, are these called patent? Yeah, patent finish lip colours. I've just got one in Exposed. I like it a lot. It's a very high sheen, kind of cross between lip gloss, stain and colour. Unusually for these sort of products, I do find it relatively easy to apply even without a liner. It doesn't bleed outside of my mouth. And it lasts very well, if only as a stain. So I've only got one of those at the moment. They're quite expensive, but the formulation is good, and they're a dream to apply, amazingly, with this sponge applicator, which I thought I wasn't going to like. They're all in reds and quite violent pinks at the moment, so I don't know what it is about the formulation, presumably, that only lends itself to quite vivid colours. But that definitely worth trying. I haven't myself tried anything exactly like this before. It's definitely feels different from glosses. It feels different from some of the other liquid lipsticks that I've tried and usually find drying. That's another point to make. It doesn't dry. And it lasts quite well. I mean, you obviously have to apply if you eat or drink a lot, but it does give a stain, and a stain that kind of fades universally, so it doesn't leave me, certainly, with patchy spots. So that's a tick. And I mentioned once again, this wasn't part of the spring collection, but Drake from Lips and Boys, which sold out back. Love it. Beautiful, beautiful plum. Fantastic formulation. I can understand why people raved about that, but I can't understand why they're raving about these, and I'm quite sad that Tom has gone down such an inferior formulation route, particularly charging those prices. So those are my more considered thoughts about the Tom Ford Spring collection, and I hope that's of some use to those of you who are still dithering about what to buy. Until next time, bye for now.